Starting this fall, Ohio will expand testing for cystic fibrosis in newborns. An estimated 40,000 people in the U.S. are living with the condition, and genetic testing is key to an early diagnosis and the treatment. Dr. John Cox, our resident pediatrician, is joining me now to explain more about the disease and this testing expansion. First of all, what exactly does cystic fibrosis do to our bodies, and how do people get it?
Cystic fibrosis is a genetic disease. So kids are born with that. And it creates a lot more mucus and in people's lungs, and it gets them more set up for infections and some issues that in the past were very, very detrimental. And now lately, because of new treatments, their life expectancy is now into the past 65, where only like 15, 20 years ago it was half that. So even when I started my career, life expectancy for people with cystic fibrosis might not have made it to their late teens or early 20s. And now we're looking at people living pretty much long, fulfilled lives, even with the disease. So it's been the amount of science and research has really made it pretty beneficial for the treatment of this disease.
Yeah, so what's the current protocol then when newborns are screened for cystic fibrosis, and how do you think this expansion of the testing will help?
Well, you know, they've always tested for it. Well, since 2006, roughly, when they started testing for cystic fibrosis. Since the late 60s, early 70s, the Ohio Department of Health has screened for a variety of inborn errors of metabolism, thyroid issues, hemoglobinopathies. There's an entire list of things that the ODH will screen for. That way we know something before a child is getting sick. We have preempted it and we know what's happening, so we can start to do therapies prior to them getting really, really sick and then having to work backwards. So this has been a great thing for pediatricians over the years. Now we know these illnesses are happening before their kids are actually getting sick, so we can prepare for them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The expansion of the cystic fibrosis is just able to pick up more mutations in the disease. It's always been pretty good as far as picking it up, and there's further testing, because these are just screening tests that they do on 48 hours of life. They'll screen every baby. It's in the state of Ohio, and it's screened for 41 different types of diseases, not just cystic fibrosis. Again, very rare things that you don't normally see. So this way we have an idea what to expect and can help these kids before they're getting sick.
Oh yeah, and this is so important. You know, a lot of parents, they're leaning on the resources that are out there for this. So doctors have not found the cure for cystic fibrosis, but what are some of those treatments that do help make a difference in patient outcomes?
A lot of it is more dietary, and there's some medicines now that are helping out, a regimen of different medicines that are helping these kids that they take preemptively. They create some different enzymes in their bodies to help them produce some of the things that they need for their lungs to function better. And they are working on a cure. Actually, they have located the genetic marker for where cystic fibrosis is. So I think over some gene therapy over the next several years, they might even be coming close to finding a cure for this, actually.
Oh, that would be such good news, especially for the parents.
It would be fantastic, because one of my best friend's granddaughters actually has it, and they were very concerned, and she is, you know, doing great right now, 6, 7 years old, doing very well. And I have a patient in my practice who's almost 20, who's been very healthy over the last 20 years because of the new treatments and therapeutics.
Yeah. And what happens, real quick, if it goes undetected, untreated, this can be very detrimental?
Oh, completely. You're going to get, you know, rarely in the state, unless you're being born in a home and you have not got any testing, we should be able to find every child who has the disease, and we could get them ahead of time. Yeah. But there are some people who slip through those cracks, and you'll be able to, again, there's further testing to check. We do what's called a sweat test. We check the amount of salt that's in their sweat. And that can give us an indication whether cystic fibrosis is a concern or not. Then we can start them on treatments at that point. But yeah, usually it's just a screening at birth to give us a heads up and a head start to help them.
Yeah, and Ohio's trying to make sure everyone gets that head start and expand this testing. Dr. Cox, thank you as always for making the house call.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.